I got a call from my wife the other day while I was at work saying that our dryer was not heating the clothes anymore. So that's what we're going to do on this video. I've already bought the parts. I have a feeling I know what's going on with the dryer. But before we get to that, please like and subscribe. I believe that the heating element has gone out, and I'm going to show you how to test that. The reason this is not working right now, or what's going on with this right now, is that it's just not heating up. Everything else seems to work fine, but there's no heat. To test the heating element, which I'm going to show you way down there in the bottom of this dryer, we need to get the top and the front off and possibly take the barrel out. To begin with getting the top off, the reason I say take the top off is there is no access panel back here to get to anything down there. So we need to start at the top, under the front, and get the front taken off too. This top comes off with 2 bolts. One here, one here. They are just Phillips. Now we've got these bolts out. This top should just slide back and come off. That's it for the top. That's the only thing we need to access in the back. I'm going to get this turned around and show you how to get the rest of this apart. I've turned this around, but what I need to do next is to get this control panel off. And to get this off, there are simply 4 screws here. So we're going to do that next, and this should just slide forward, and we can just lay it on top. Now it will come off. Slide forward, lift up, and we'll just lay that right on the top. The next thing we need to do is take this door off. And by the door, we don't want to take just this piece, we want to take the entire thing off. So you can leave all of these screws intact. This thing will come off as one piece. There are 2 screws here and 2 a little bit wider apart here. And the bottom just slides into some slots, so this will come forward. You're going to want to hold this, otherwise it will fall forward. There's a connector right here that just pulls out like so. And then this should be free to fall forward and lift off. I'm going to get you set up a little bit closer. The piece we need to look at is right down in here. I'm going to show you quickly how to test that before you end up taking all of this apart, because if that's not bad, or if it is still good, we need to do some more research and figure out what else is wrong. But let's test that. I got 2 things here. I've got my multimeter, which I'm going to use to show you how a good unit should sound or look. Now, I ordered this assuming that this was going to be the part that I needed. So this is it. These are other parts that we'll put on too. This is the heating element that I think needs replaced. And the way to test this, there are 2 leads right here. These 2 leads should have continuity between these 2 leads, because it should run all the way through with no breaks on this wire, which I believe is what happened to this piece that's in the machine, that it's overheated and it's caused a break, which has caused an air gap in this wire, which makes the wire no good anymore. So let's go ahead and test this. I'm going to just put my multimeter on continuity right here. I'm going to set this up so you can see it down here. And to show you what it should sound like, if I touch these together, you can see it makes a beeping sound. And that just means that there's electricity running through these. So if I touch each of these to these leads, put one here and one here, you can see that we have continuity. So this unit, at least as far as continuity goes, is good. We're going to do the same test on the one in the machine right now, and I'm going to guess that we will not hear that beep because that line is broken. Get you set up? I've got you set up looking inside the machine, and you can see in there the coil that we're going to replace if it's bad. These are the 2 matching plugs that we just tested on the new one to verify that it's good. A little bit dusty, but it should work the same way. I'm going to just touch each of these leads right here to those two. And I've pulled the multimeter up here closer so you can hear it. So I'm going to put one on there and one on here. And you can see we have absolutely an open circuit. Definitely bad. Let's go ahead and get the drum out. We'll have easy access to this and we'll get this all replaced. To get this piece off, you can see that this wire is running through it. I need to turn this panel over and take this piece off just for a moment to remove these connectors. I've already taken these 3 screws out. So we'll just pull this up and you can see it's connected, so don't pull too hard. And we just want to disconnect these 2 connectors right here. So that way we can take this piece away. Now that we've got this wire loose, we can get this piece taken off. As you can see now, we've got twisters here that hold these wires on. Just need to pull these wires out of these twists. And then this is a light bulb that goes in there, just like a little Christmas light. Now that these are all off, I'm going to just let them hang here on this ground wire for the time that we're working on this. I may disconnect this ground wire. Let's go ahead and be on the safe side. We'll just let those wires hang off the side. I'm going to get you set back up a little better so you can see more of the front. There are a couple of things I need to take off here. This is a cover for the fan inlet. So I'm going to just take this off, and there's a reason, because I need to be able to get my arms in on each side of it. So let's take this off first. Guess I should have taken that out first. We'll definitely be cleaning this. Yuck. I do need to get this piece off so that we can then get the belt and then the drum off. So let's take out these 4 screws, get this piece off. You don't have to worry horribly about this piece falling forward on you because it is held on by little notches and tabs that stick in here. So we need to lift this up and out to get it off. And we've got another electric connector down here. I'm going to try to get the camera back there somewhere where you can see the belt that I'm trying to take off. So I've done my best to try and get you back there. Hi. Let me turn this a little so you can see where that belt turns. Let me show you a couple of things. This piece is a belt tensioner. It has a spring that holds it that way to keep the belt on. We need to push it this way. In other words, we need to pull the spring so that we can unload the tension on the belt and take the belt off. And we can just let this fall. We've got the belt off. I'm going to bring it back out and we'll take this drum off. Okay. We've loosened the belt, as you can see here, the belt. We'll just kind of keep a little tension on that and we should be able to just pull this drum carefully out. We have definitely got full access to this box now, which is the piece we need to replace these in. And I've got all of these sensors also. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those while we're in here so we don't have to do this again. Let me get you set up a little closer and we'll get that taken care of. I've got you set up a little closer. I think as dirty as this is, I'm going to clean this before I go any further. There's no reason to leave it a mess like this. I'll be back with it clean. Before we start taking this apart, I kind of want to explain what each of these are. These are the terminals that go directly to the wound coil that produces the heat. So this is like a hairdryer, very similar. It gets very hot and glows, and that's what creates the heat that blows through into the drum. So it blows through here and up into there, back of it into the drum. This back sensor back here, the smaller sensor, this is what's called a temperature limit switch. And I will show you, this is the new temperature limit switch. And I don't know if you can read this, and quite frankly, I don't know if I can even get it close enough for you to read. Right in the middle there. But if you look on the bottom right here, it says 185F. That means this will monitor the temperature of this inside here. And when it gets to 185, it will shut this off. And when it drops down below 185 again, it will turn it back on. So it cycles this thing on and off to keep it at 185. This is the same thing. This one is a 165. And then there is another safety switch right here. This is what's called a high limit thermostat. And these two correspond to each other. If, let's say that this is working and it's heating up, and this is supposed to cycle it off at 185, and that one has failed. That's when this one takes over. This is a secondary safety. This one will go up to 250. If this reaches 250 degrees Fahrenheit, this one will take over and cut the power to this. So these two work together to keep this thing from burning your house down. Now that we've explained all of these things, let me get these things apart. We're going to get all the new ones put in. We'll open this up, get the new coil put in. I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and get these off of here. I'm going to leave these connected for now so that we can just look at these quickly. I see that this one is a 160. I believe these are interchangeable. I just want this to have a little bit more heat. So I'm going to exchange this one for the 185. This one is going to be 250 no matter what. It's the secondary safety. I'm just going to disconnect these two and put the other two on so that I know exactly where the wiring goes. So we'll do these one at a time. So because this one comes with the 160 already installed on the bracket, I need to unscrew these, or I can't even unscrew them. Well, I guess I don't want to heat it up anymore. For the sake of safety, I'll stay with the 160. That's what's on here now. So we'll just swap this out. So we've got this new one on. Let's get this one on. Since we already tested these, we know that the coil is likely the issue. You can do without replacing these, but I've got it apart. I've got the new ones. It doesn't make any sense not to. Now that I've got these put back together, let's get on with unhooking this. And we'll just make note that blue is on top, red is on bottom. Not sure that it matters. Now that I've got this apart, we can take these screws out. Great. We've got this whole thing out. I should have just taken it out first, one screw, pull it out, then take all these off. But I decided to do it backwards. In any case, we've got this thing apart. I'm going to get it set down here. I think we're about ready to pull this thing apart. Pull it apart like that. On these tabs right here, you can see that there's a little tab that's bent down. We just need to pull that straight with a pair of pliers, and then these tabs will just push straight out. We can put the new ones in. Let me get some pliers. We'll do that. And there it is, the old heater core out. And if I bring you real close, you'll be able to see right here. It is broken. So, that is trash. I'm going to go ahead and clean all this stuff up, and we'll get this put back together. First, I thought that it didn't matter which way this thing went in, this way or this way. But if you look closely, you can see there are indentations on this kind of case right here that have to match up. So I guess it does matter, at least for fitment. So make sure that you put them on the way they fit. And let's go ahead and get this pushed back in. And just push this one through. We'll push this one through. And then off camera, I'm going to bend these little tabs back. So I've got the tabs bent so that these cannot go back through. We've got it set on there properly. We've cleaned everything enough. And we're just going to set this back in place. We're going to get these screws put back in. I'm not going to bore you with this. It's just a few screws that go back in here. I'm going to do this off camera, and I'll be back to show you. So I've got the entire box put back together. Everything put back in place. Let's just go ahead and put this back in. Make sure these lock into place. They shouldn't come off. Let's go ahead and get these put back in. Okay, we've got the thing put back in place. Everything is plugged back in. All the new components are on. Let's do one more test before we put this back together. We're just going to go back to continuity. Set you up right here. We'll just test these the same way we did before. We definitely have continuity. We are ready to put this thing back together. This drum has kind of a lip right here on either side, and it can go in either way, and it sits directly on these rollers. So let's get it put back in. Got the drum back in. So if you remember when we took this off, it has these little tabs that fit into these slots. So they go in and drop down. But we do need to make sure that these rollers go underneath this lip right here. We've made sure that the roller is on and that the tabs are all located properly. Just put the screws in. This is on. The next thing we want to do before we put this cover back on is to put the belt back on. I'm going to get you set up back there like I did when we took it off and show you how to put it back on. If you notice, the belt has two sides to it. It has a ribbed side here and it has a flat side. The ribbed side needs to sit in this pulley. So it comes around this way. I've got the tensioner on the flat side and we've got it pushed onto the pulley. And everything spins freely. So that's belt on. Let's get the rest of this put together. So if you recall, when we took this apart, we had to unplug this. So let's make sure we get everything plugged back in. That's plugged in. Everything seems okay up here. I'm going to go ahead and clean these things. We've got everything on. Let's get this cover on. Now we can put this back in. So we're basically ready now to just put this front cover back on. We're going to go ahead and get this piece put back on. So if you recall, I had this wire that ran under here and I have failed to put it back on there properly. I'm going to run it up under here, like so. This one plugs into the door. This is the light over here. And the ground wire. I'm going to pull you back. We'll get that door put on. I'm going to put you back up here again for the rest. So if you recall, this door has slots at the bottom that fit onto these notches. Don't forget to plug this top piece back in. We've got the door back on. Now we need to put the control panel up there and the top, and we'll be done. I'm going to get you set up so you can see it better. I have made a huge mistake. I'm gonna have to take these back off. So as many of you probably noticed, this was not here previously when I put the door on. I had to undo these screws again to pull these through because they were hanging down here. In any case, I did it off camera. Here they are. We need to plug them back in. Now that that's on, we can slide these into place here. Slides on, pops in place, 4 screws across the top. The next and final piece is the back. It simply has the 2 screws that screw in here. There it is. We have taken this apart. We've put in the new heating elements and the sensors. We put everything back together properly. I'm going to take this thing inside. It's ready to go. Thanks for watching.